the best cards in the deck, arguably.
Yeah.
We're going to cut in here Nathan Holiday, Mono Blue Devotion, Chris Rasmussen, White Red Aggro. Looks like we're actually in game one still. That match did go fast. We'll give you Rasmussen's deck. I'll take a look at the Grand Prix San Diego champion, Nathan Holiday. Let's update you guys on the board here. You've got a Cloud from Raptor that has been pacified. It was a 3-4. You've got a Frostburn Weird. Looks like we've got Thassa and Master Waves coming in the red zone. A Biden to Thassa out there as well. Among those lands, there are a Mutavault and a Nykthos, and then 4 islands. You look at Chris's side, he's got a Mutavault of his own, a couple lands out there, 2 of which are going to provide red mana. Then Boros Lead, a Precinct Captain, and it looks like a token from the Precinct Captain.
And this matchup is all about Brave the Elements.
Yes, it is.
The Mono Blue Devotion deck, obviously all blue cards, and most of its way of beating other creature decks is to block with things like Thassa and Master of Waves. So Brave the Elements is a really important piece. Nathan's trying to win the game quickly enough where he doesn't have to worry about it, or try to attack Chris's board when he can, keep his life total high and make sure Brave the Elements doesn't kill him.
I know part of the reason that you and I played Boros along with Ben Lundquist in Grand Prix Albuquerque is just because Brave the Elements was really well positioned for that tournament, and it plays a huge role in this matchup because once they do stabilize the Master of Waves, it's really the only way you can get through.
Yeah. Even cards like Nightveil Spectre and Frostburn Weird are very challenging to attack through.
So we see some attacks and some blocking here from Holiday. Going to pass the turn back, Will Rasmussen with just 1 card in his hand. Holiday is going to untap. And again, his Thassa is active, so he's going to scry. You see Rapid Hybridization in his hand along with an island, and now he's pondering what he's going to do with the top card of his deck. He analyzes the board position.
Yeah, I really like Nathan just playing the mono blue list. We've seen a lot of blue splash white for Detention Sphere and Afara, but losing Rapid Hybridization, which is what most people replace to make room for Detention Sphere for, by cutting that card, Rapid Hybridization is just such an awesome piece for this deck.
See Holiday trying to figure out if he can go lethal here. He's pulling some creatures forward. He's got Nykthos, obviously, to make a bunch of creatures unblockable. He just wants to make sure that he can get the job done this turn, because I don't think he wants to play any extra turns this game.
Yeah, 1 Nykthos in these decks, not really a Nykthos strategy, but when the game bogs down, you often have Thassa, and Thassa and a lot of mana in a game that bogs down is a powerful combination.
I agree. So in comes the Cloud from Raptor. Looks like we're going to have some attacks here. Master of Waves and company. Looks like Frostburn Weird. You see Holiday wants to make sure that he doesn't mess this up, because he can close it out, I believe, this turn because of Nykthos' mana. There's a Mutavault that's going to go active. And he says, not just yet. I'm going to make some things unblockable. Yeah. So Nykthos is going to tap for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. So you can get 3 unblockable effects here.
And dump
pump it into Frostburn, as you were going to say, yeah. And with Rasmussen only having 1 card in his hand, I don't think there's a card that he could have to get himself out of the situation, and he does not, and he's going to concede the game.
Yeah, this matchup, in the non-Brave the Elements games, I feel like the blue deck is advantaged because there's so much better at clogging up the ground quickly, and there's some tools that they have that are incredibly potent, like Thassa and Jace. But the Brave the Elements game, of course, is very good for white-red aggro. In that game, you saw no Brave the Elements, and Nathan looked like to be in a pretty commanding position.
So Nathan Holiday, your Grand Prix San Diego champion, up a game here. We'll take a look at the sideboards. Chris Rasmussen will be on the play. You have that in front of you. Go ahead.
Spear of Heliod, 2 Revoke Existence, 2 Glare of Heresy, 3 Fiend Slayer Paladin, 2 Mizium Mortars, 2 Boros Reckoners, 2 Pithy Needle, and a Celestial Flare. I believe that you'll see the Revoke Existence come in as an answer to Thassa and Biden of Thassa, and potentially a card like Domestication as well, which is reasonable to anticipate. I'm not an enormous fan of the removal spells. I believe that you'll see the Mizium Mortars come in just as a removal spell, but I'm not that big of a fan of it because the white-red aggro deck is often missing red mana early on. There's only 4 Sacred Foundry and 4 Temple of Triumph. The red cards that are timing sensitive, like removal spells against other beatdown decks, are often stranded in your hand. So he may want to bring it in just because it's better than something like Boros Charm, for example, but not at its best here.
Take a look at Holiday's sideboard. Again, he's taking the more traditional approach, just mono blue, no splashes here. 1 Cyclonic Rift, a Domestication, Rapid Hybridization, 2 Jace Architect of Thought, 1 Essence Scatter, 1 Biden of Thassa, 2 Dissolve, a Dispel, 3 Gainsays, 2 Negates. All those counter spells you can pretty much ignore. Maybe he brings in, Essence Scatter, maybe not. I think we're going to see Jace coming in this matchup along with the Rapid Hybridization, the Domestication, and the Cyclonic Rift.
Yeah, Jace is awesome against white-red aggro. I mean, it's already good out of Esper decks and blue-white decks. It's one of your best cards against white aggro. The fact that you're also able to block and protect your Jace and muddy up combat makes it even better.
And, Domestication, the card that you mentioned, it's a card that, when I think of Domestication, I think of Greg Hatch, and he was main decking them at the Invitational where he got second place. Now, he was playing, I believe, 3 copies at that tournament. This go-around, Holiday just has one in his main deck and the one in his sideboard, but it's a card that, when it's good, it's great. And it's one that's been kind of trending downwards because people are playing the version that's splashing white for an Attention Sphere and a Afara, so there's really no room for Domestication then. But remember, this was the card that kind of cracked the code for the mirror. It's good against the aggro decks, too.
And trust me, when Boros Reckoner is on the rise like it is right now, that's time to dust off your Domestication. Not only is it a juicy Domestication target, but most decks that play Boros Reckoner struggle against other Boros Reckoners. So it's really well suited for that kind of role.
So I think we can anticipate Domestications being in Holiday's deck after sideboard, and we'll see if he's able to draw one. But his deck list is very stock. You've got all the 4-ofs that allow the deck to have 28 creatures: Judge's Familiar, Cloudfin Raptor, Frostmourne Ward, Tidebinder Mage, Nightveil Spectre, Thassa God of the Sea, and Master of Waves. And then his spells, pretty run of the mill, honestly. 3 Rapid Hybridization, a Cyclonic Rift, a Domestication, and 2 Bind of Thassa. So nothing crazy going on here from him.
Pretty classic list.
Yeah. And it's a deck list that we haven't seen have a lot of success. Again, it did win the first Open after Born of the Gods released in Nashville, but outside of that, it's been very quiet.
It's definitely been trending downwards, that's for sure.
And again, I'm not sure if it's a situation where the the blue splash white version is better, or if mono blue version is better, or if just neither is very good at this point in time.
I personally am not that enamored with the blue-white deck. I've discussed this before. The big incentive to play that deck, to play with the white cards in my mind, is Afara. I guess Attention Sphere is probably the first thing because of your liability to pack rat. Afara is another big incentive, but Afara is pretty replaceable in my opinion, as you have other cards that you can play for 4 mana in blue to generate a lot of card advantage, whether it's Bident or Jace. And with Lifebane Zombie kind of floating around, opening up some exposure to that is not something I'm really in the market for either.
Rasmussen is going to take a mulligan here. So he'll be looking at 6 cards here momentarily, as Holiday has kept his 7. I wanted to make sure that there are only 6. And it looks like we're good to go, as that would be a forced mulligan if there were more. And it's going to be a forced mulligan anyway. He's down to 5.
Yeah. Nathan, a Northern California area player, kind of in Sam Party's crew, and a really nice guy. He's actually someone I've gotten to know reasonably well the last year and change, and he's a cool dude.
Been traveling a lot of events now recently, too.
Yeah.
I saw him the airport. I saw Pardee and Holiday in the airport after Richmond at about 5 a.m. as we were taking our flights back to the West Coast. Yeah. These guys like to get out and play some Magic, but we're in their backyard this weekend, so not too far for them to go.
I don't know. I mean, if you're up in the Bay Area, this is, at least a 6-hour drive. And parts of the drive are unpleasant.
Oh, I've never made them.
Oh, it's
so
not.
Okay, that's not true. Grand Prix Oakland circa 2010.
Okay.
The first Grand Prix of that season. Yeah, definitely Okay, 2010. I remember this is when I met Greg Hatch and James Gates. We piled into the world's smallest Honda Civic, 5 of us. We made the drive from Oakland to Riverside, where Greg was living at the time, right around this area. Yeah, it was about 6 or 7 hours, 5 of us in that tiny Civic at about, the drive started about midnight all the way down. We got to Greg's place as the sun came up.
Yeah, if you're not familiar with California geography, the state's huge.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Oakland and Los Angeles, they can't be that far away from each other. No, they're quite far away from one another.
I can't say I saw much of the drive, so I don't know how unpleasant it was as I was trying to sleep for most of it.
I was speaking more of the traffic in the Bay Area and in the Los Angeles area can be heinous.
We dodged it. It was late at night. We faded it.
It's basically farmlands, Bakersfield, farmlands, Los Angeles, or Oakland.
Okay.
That's the trip.
Okay.
Attention Magic player.
Well, I don't live in California, so I don't think it's a drive I'll be making very, very often. That's a drive I may never make again.
Yeah.
I have done the LA to San Diego drive, which I know you do quite a bit. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's a nice one.
I like that drive. As we are underway here, no 1-drop, as Holiday does have a 1-drop on his side, and the judge is familiar. Just a Sacred Foundry for Rasmussen. Again, he's on a mulligan of 5, so he's
on a
world
mulligan
of
of 4.
He's on 4. I missed the other one.
Yeah.
He's in a world of trouble then. As Judge Miller is going to come across, and there's another one before passing the turn back.
Really hard to build up the critical mass of creatures required to brave the element someone out when you have 4 cards.
That would make it tough. That's expert analysis.
That's more expert analysis.
A Plains and a Johnny with nothing on the board. Now you can't plus that, but still very unexciting as Rasmussen has to pass the turn back.
Ajani is really tough to manage in this matchup because the mono blue deck is so efficient at attacking planeswalkers.
Yeah. Looks like there's a Thassa. So Holiday will be taking the turn off before turning that on, as Johnny is going to go down to 3.
I feel like he can afford to give up a turn.
Yes. See Temple of Triumph here for Rasmussen. Johnny's going to tick up to 4, pass the turn back here. You know, this is one matchup that I thought was actually very good. This is a matchup that I thought was really good for white-red aggro when I was coming in Albuquerque. I feel like it's pretty tough still.
Yeah, Mono Blue Devotion's a deck with a really high skill cap. I know that I was regularly beating it online, and Ben was winning a ton too, leading into Albuquerque. And then when you were playing against the Sam Blacks and Sam Parties of the world, the matchup felt a lot different.
Yes, it did. You see Thassa is going to come across and take care of Johnny, and the Judges Familiars will go upstairs before Holiday does pass the turn back. Of course, Devotion is in check. Tidebinder Mage providing the last 2.
So a mulligan to 4 and flooding out with no Mutavault is just could not be going any worse for Chris right now.
It's just not fair, because there is a Revoke Existence to take care of Thassa. Judges Familiars, you will not be able to counter that. Holiday is a little stuck on lands here, but that means he has 5 spells in his hand, so it's not a great place to be. He also has 3 creatures on the table, and Mutavault, it can be the 4th if you'd like it to be.
Nathan has nothing to complain about this game. Let's
None.
put it that way.
Yeah, keep your mouth shut, Nathan, and get the job done.
You would not believe how long I stalled on lands that game. I somehow won anyway.
He's going to fire at Mutavault, play a Cloud from after post-combat, deal Rasmussen 6 points of damage. Rasmussen, is he going to play his first creature of the game? There it is.
Welcome.
We did it.
Welcome aboard, Daring Skyjack.
Yep. There it is, folks. Oh, domestication
come
right
on.
on time.
You can't do that.
He can't cast it. He can't cast it. He can't cast it.
You can't domesticate the guy who mulliganed to 4 and that's his first play. Just unacceptable.
Let's see what spell's going to be played here. Tidebinder Mage, not going to tap anything down right now, but it will evolve Cloud from Raptor. And into the red zone we go. Even if this Daring Skyjack does happen to live through this combat with a Boros Charm, first the double strike on that or something, it's still a favorable trade here. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Might see Holiday cash in the 2 Judges Familiars to keep his Tidebinder Mage, but I don't think that he needs to do that, and he's just going to let it go.
Yeah, I think the Flyers at this point are actually more valuable to Nathan than his 2-power creature.
Yeah, I agree. Rasmussen draws a card as Boros Charm was the last card in his hand. Not sure if it was a land or a spell. We will obviously find out momentarily. It was a spell.
Of sorts.
Yes, a Pitting Needle. We'll figure out what it's naming in a moment. Wouldn't be surprised if it's Mutavault as Master Waves the draw here for Holiday. Holiday just really unlucky with the land issue here.
Yeah,
just
unbelievable.
Really just tough.
It's great that he's persevering in spite of how unlucky he's getting right now. A testament to his competitive nature.
Yeah, just battling through the tough times.
Yeah.
There's a Frostburn weird. Gonna evolve the Cloud from Raptor. An attack here for 2, 4, 5, 6. Daring Skyjack going to trade with Tidebinder Mage. So Rasmussen goes down to 4. Holiday will pass the turn back with his all-spell hand. Big follow-up, another Daring Skyjack. Pass the turn back.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fire's back.
There's the island. There it is. There's the domestication.
No, Nathan, come on.
Yep, that's gonna do it.
You don't need to do him like that.
Nathan Holiday will win this match over Chris Rasmussen. He moves on to 3-0-1 as Chris will take it the right way. Mulligan to 4. What can I do?
Yeah, sometimes, there's some matches